Metal Gear Solid Touch for the iPod. I had no idea what to expect with this title, but Konami has managed to make one of the best action games on the iPod by far. Before your head explodes, let me explain what this game is. It is not a substitute. It is not a remake of Metal Gear Solid 4. It is an abridged version of Metal Gear Solid 4, with a totally different style of gameplay developed for the iPod. It's not about sneaking around, hiding in boxes, and assassinating people. It's about pointing and shooting as fast as you can. And it is so damned addictive. Instead of the fancy weapons upgrade system in Metal Gear Solid 4, you spend your Drebin points on artwork for your iPod. Brilliant. While this game is not perfect, there's one area I think they could have improved on. I'll get to that in a moment. It's an ingenious way to look at Metal Gear Solid 4, a totally different way to play basically the exact same game, or at least the same plot. Highly condensed. Instead of 45-minute cutscenes after each mission, you just read the story in text. It takes 15 seconds. It's great. As you can see on screen, it's a drastically different style of gameplay than what you would expect from Metal Gear Solid, and it's harder than it looks. After Act 2, when you get up into Act 3 and start fighting some of the more challenging end bosses who you'll remember from Metal Gear Solid 4, you find out pretty quickly it's not an easy task to shoot, snipe, and duck and cover at the same time. Then you have to start clearing ice off the screen by shaking your iPod, and it's just an extremely well-made game. It's not a substitute for Metal Gear Solid 4. If anything, it makes me want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 again, because I remember how much fun I had during this scene. But Metal Gear Solid 4 is just too large. It's too big of a game to bring on the go with you. Not to mention it's on the PlayStation 3, which is also a bit cumbersome and requires a television. Raiden! I wonder if he's good at Raiden 3. Wait, no, this is from Konami. He should be good at Scramble and Frogger. Your favorite characters are here, and the amazing soundtrack and musical score from Metal Gear Solid 4 is in this game. When I read the text telling the storyline, I hear Octa Khan's voice in my head. And I've got to admit that condensing 45-minute cutscenes that appear after each mission into text, which takes 15 seconds to read, is not a bad thing. The storytelling does not get in the way of gameplay in this version. Now, I think they could have done a better job with the scoring system, and that's my biggest complaint with the game, since this is basically an arcade title rather than a massive shooter and adventure game on the PlayStation 3. I would have preferred straight-up arcade scoring with a high score feature per level. You get a level ranking, but that gets old pretty quickly. And there is some replay value in here because you can play it over and over again to earn points and buy the artwork. And the game is extremely fun and addictive. You don't move around the screen or hide in objects or go from one place to another. You just pop up when your finger touches the screen, you aim to shoot, and when you want to snipe, you do that two-finger trick on the iPod. I probably played numerous levels, about 10 or 15 times, to perfect the game. But a high score feature with global leaderboards would have been awesome. Hopefully they'll put out another game like this. So that's it. This is not a shovelware remake of Metal Gear Solid 4 dumbed down for a different console. Although they should remake it for the Vectrex. This is a different way to look at Metal Gear Solid, and it's a perfect adaptation for the iPod. If they made it too fancy, it would suck. They really focused on the fun arcade style of just popping up and shooting things, with the cool characters from the Metal Gear series. Very well done. Speaking of the Vectrex, I have Konami's Scramble for Vectrex. I'll be reviewing that soon, and when you win artwork or unlock the artwork in the game, you can use a screen capture function from your iPod where you hold the power button and then push that other button and it saves it to your hard drive. Very cool.